Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Triple TC, that is the time travelling toy collector, and today we are wrapping up our Transformers Timelines box set 2, Hearts of Steel, exploration and review of sorts, with Megatron. Megatron as he appeared, or didn't appear, because I don't remember he actually showed up, but that might be a false memory. But as he appeared, or certainly as he would have appeared, if he did appear, which I'm not sure he did, in the Hearts of Steel comics. Hearts of Steel, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is a concept comic book series which saw the Transformers being revived in the age of steam, in the industrial during the Industrial Revolution, where steam trains were the latest thing, as it were. Really quite a good, from what I recall of reading it, quite a good series, inventive and sort of very true to the Transformers as we knew them growing up, but with a nice reimagining. And Hearts of Steel was the first port of call for this new Timelines line that's been introduced as part of the Transformers collection. Anyway, that's your context statement out of the way. We've had a look at Bumblebee already. We've done the packaging. So for this video, we're really going to take a look up close and personal at Decepticon leader Megatron. So I'm just going to pop his arms down there, just so I can get him nice and close, so that we can take a nice close-up look at that face sculpt. And as you can see there, it really is a lovely face sculpt. Megatron really does come out well in this. He's got beautifully deep set red eyes. They're so deep set though, I'm not sure you can actually see them as well as one would have hoped you'd be able to see them as part of this. But I think the head design is really great. So you've got the old sort of bucket head, traditional G1-esque Megatron look there. But I think it's a really nice face sculpt. I really genuinely do think that. We've got the Decepticon logo there in the traditional purple, with a sort of a silver outline and background on what is a very G1-esque Megatron chest. It really is. And in fact, all of his main core body, which we'll look at, articulation in a second, but it sort of does scream G1, doesn't it? You're looking at Megatron. Admittedly, this dark colour scheme is not perhaps the Megatron that we're accustomed to looking at, but it certainly is really effective. I think it's really effective. So as we take a look down that chest, you can see that we've got spikes here on his shoulders, on the chest part of his shoulders. We've got the insignia as mentioned, rivets, which I think is great. The rivets and the bolts are there, the paneling there in the waist, and yes, we do have a really good waist articulation, and you can also see we have that red detailing that we're accustomed to seeing on Megatron around the waist there. He has these big shields, which of course will become wheels, but these big shields on his shoulders that are beautifully spiked. He has detailed rivets all down his arm, and again he has no gapping on his forearm. He's got this circular section here with more sort of mini spikes there, and this side we also see pretty much exactly the same, but this is where we've attached his fusion cannon, or his steam powered fusion cannon, to fit into the era. As we travel down the legs, you can see there's a little bit of hollowness on the inside of the thigh there. We do have all the articulation that you would expect to see across his legs. There's a little bit of ankle tilt, not a huge amount, but it's there. A bit of rocking as well, probably to support transformation, which I've not done yet, so that's a guess, but I think we're safe bet. Again, you can see that colour theme of the two-tone grey on his legs. We've got these, which are going to be presumably wheels in his alt mode, that are part of his knees, and again, as I showed you there, you can get over 90-degree knee articulation, which is pretty good. And of course you do have the tilting there. The legs are quite filled in on the sides. There's a bit of gap around the back there by the feet, but nothing huge, and we do have pretty much everything on the back filled in. Not quite as gappy as our friend Bumblebee turned out to be. And again, much like Bumblebee, a very, very clean silhouette. So Megatron really showing us that in this sort of Hearts of Steel mode, he really is a particularly tidied bot. I'll just move this to the side for 1 second, because I think it'd be quite useful for us to get a look at Megatron with some of his compatriots. So here he is with his set mate Bumblebee, so you can see how that scales. We also have his fellow Decepticon as he appeared in this range, Starscream, so we can see how that looks. We also have, of course, his arch enemy as he appears in this range. So here we have Optimus Prime, and I think they scale really nicely together. I think they work really, really nicely together. So that's a big win as far as I'm concerned. Just to work it through the scales, here he is with Megatron from War for Cybertron Earthrise. So we can see there's quite a significant difference there in just about every respect. We also have, just for completeness, War for Cybertron Kingdom Commander Class Rodimus Prime. So you can see how that scales. And last but by no means least, we can also have a look at another iteration of Megatron. It's him as he appeared in the Bumblebee movie, or didn't appear rather, in the Bumblebee movie in his concept art mode. So there we have that comparison as well. So all in all, I think it's safe to say that this iteration of Megatron really does present very strongly. I think the detailing, even the sort of, you can see those sort of gold highlights on the fusion cannon, the overall aesthetic of the body, really great, really works. The posability is there. I can shake him about by the leg. You can see that I'm shaking him by the leg. Nothing is giving and moving, so you can see just how robust a figure he's proving to be. So I'm now going to transform him into his alt mode. You can let me know what you think down in the comments below of the Timelines collection in general, this Hearts of Steel 2-pack, and of course how they've represented Megatron. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and also what you're hoping to see in future lines of the Timelines releases in future years. Anyway, let me, without further ado, get him all transformed up into his alt mode, and we'll take it from there. So here we have Megatron, now in his alt mode, and as you can see, his alt mode here is a cannon, and it rolls sort of well. This isn't the best kind of thing to have it rolling on, but it does move, and it's supported with the additional wheels at the back there. But yeah, these wheels, there's nothing obscuring them. It's just that they are a bit, you know, because of the nature of them, you've got to get them just sort of right, and they will. But it doesn't hamper the movement. But it's a really interesting mode, and you know what, I wasn't too sure about it initially, and it's kind of growing on me. I think it's more because we don't really have any articulation in the barrel. We can't really tilt it upwards or downwards. But again, that was kind of how oldie worldy cannons worked, you know. And we do have, to be fair, some forward facing, what I assume are additional sort of Megatron weapons. Never let it be said that he just goes for the one. I thought the way the arms transform is really good. It's really clever. The hands don't go necessarily where you think they're going to go as part of the transformation. But I do like how it sort of condenses down into this very obviously canon mode. There's no Decepticon logo available and visible when he's in this mode. His chest is under there. It's almost a shame we couldn't sort of flip that here so we can at least have the Decepticon logo there, but I guess that it was not practical for the design. I'm not a designer, so all I do is expose my distinct lack of knowledge when I say things like that. But it's just, again, for me, a shame that we don't get a Decepticon logo somewhere in his alt mode, because I do kind of like that. I mean, the back is just essentially his legs folded up, but at least by having his legs folded up that way, his toes are not being sort of shown. And yeah, from a sort of canon, as a canon, which is a really logical sort of G1 adjacent option for Megatron to adopt in the Hearts of Steel universe, as it were, it makes perfect sense, and I think it translates really well. And again, I think the color scheme really works, and there's not a huge amount I can say because it doesn't have a lot of articulation. I suppose the playability is you bringing in other figures and sort of standing them with him. Although for this particular line, we are limited to just the 4 in total for the Hearts of Steel entry into the Timelines line. But more will be coming, I'm sure, in due course. They just won't be necessarily Hearts of Steel adjacent. So here we have Megatron in his canon mode, and you can get to see all of the standard sort of surface detailing, and I think it looks really good. I do think it looks really good. As I say, it's growing on me more and more, and I think for the aesthetic and I think for the theme, it does work. It's just I think just so radically different, whilst being sort of as true as it can be to the concept of Megatron as a character, and of course as a toy. So I kind of like it. I would have probably liked a little bit more detailing on him. I think the character, I think it's a little plain for Megatron, and but overall I think it works. I think it works in context, and again, it hasn't detracted in any way from me being glad that I've picked this set up. I think it's a really great set, and I think as a 4-pack, sorry, as a set of 4 figures, Optimus, Bumblebee, Megatron and Starscream, I think it works really well. So that's kind of all I've got to say about looking at these 2 figures. So we've had Megatron and we've had Bumblebee. So let's bring Bumblebee back in just for my closing thoughts on this particular set. I'm pleasantly surprised. I did think as a conceit it was going to be something that really wasn't going to interest me. I've subsequently determined that I'm really glad that I picked it up. I think the designs really work. I think the color schemes overall really work and really pop. Again, I make the point that I just think that it would have been nice if there was a little more on Megatron, but I don't know where they'd necessarily put it. I think I'm probably just lamenting the lack of a Decepticon symbol, if I'm brutally honest. But I think where there are accents, they work really well, and the exact same is true for Bumblebee. And I think it's a really great 2-pack. Just like I thought the Optimus and the Starscream was a really great 2-pack. It does beg the question, what will we be seeing next? What will follow up Hearts of Steel in the Timelines range? I'm really curious to have your thoughts in the comments down below, so please fill them in. Thank you very much for spending the last probably around 15 minutes or so with me. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a wonderful audience, and thank you so much for sticking with me. If you haven't already, please drop a like for the video, it really helps. And of course, if you're not subscribed and you want to see more Transformers goodness, and indeed other things in the future, then do please drop that completely free subscription. It would be absolutely fabulous and mean the world to me. It genuinely would, because it helps me get to my next subscriber milestone, and it also shows that there are people out there actually watching some of this madness that I pulled together. So thank you again. Your time is precious, so I'm glad you were able to spend some of it with me. I very much look forward to seeing you in a future video, and it just remains for me to say that things of beauty really are toys forever. Take care. Bye bye for now.